Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. You got the opening. You got
For
it.
sure, for sure. Hi there, everybody. It is I, JD Astra, in disguise as Ember Holt, also a wizard, and my lovely narrator, Laura Horowitz, here to beguile you with the tales of the Chimera Bounty and also how to become a narrator, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. And then Laura's going to do a brief or long, uncertain
As
library.
long as you'll have me, I will read as much or little as you'd like. But yeah, I have a couple fun selections picked out, and we can chat about them and talk about scenes. And absolutely,
Cool.
yeah.
So please introduce yourself. Give a little spiel before
All
we
right. Well,
start.
thank you for having me. And my name is Laura Horowitz. I am a professional audiobook narrator, so that means that I'm a voice actor. I do other work, but predominantly my passion, my heart, my love is completely owned by audiobooks. So I started as a reader. My degree and my education, I have my master's in composition and rhetoric. So technically by degree, I am a writer by background. But I started listening to audiobooks when I was in grad school. I was working full time, I was newly married, and I could not keep up with the course load. I was a full time student. I just couldn't keep it up. So I started listening to audiobooks of my books for schoolwork on the way to and from work, and I just fell in love. So we're talking a while ago. So it's been a while, and I've been listening to audiobooks
Gosh, it hasn't been that long.
frequently. Hello, thank you, TJ
Hey,
Lombardi. Thanks
TJ.
very much for the welcome. So yeah, I am a devout listener, and though I spend 5, 6, 7, 8 hours every workday uh, reading, live narrating, and working on audiobooks, I then turn everything off and I go to my kitchen, start cooking dinner, and I click on my audiobooks that I'm listening to for pleasure. So I'm passionate. I listen to 1, 2, 3 audiobooks every week. So I'm on Libby, I'm on Hoopla, I'm on every possible library branch anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, so I have access to all the audiobooks, and I'm passionate about multiple literacies, so I want, audiobooks absolutely, listening absolutely is reading, and I'm passionate about making it available as widely as possible in libraries, on Audible, on Apple Books. So I like what I do. I like what I do. I have fun doing what I do, and I'm also very passionate about it. And yeah, I've been doing this. So after listening to about 1,000 audiobooks, I told my husband a couple years ago, I was like, I could do it. Like I know what I like. At the very least, it's like I know what I like in a narrator, and I know what I don't like in a narrator. I can do it. And so he bought me a mic, a USB mic you just plug into your computer. And I started out by reading books just aloud, recording books into my little mic. And after about, a couple months of me reading, I started out with Rudyard Kipling. I read all of his classic stories and I recorded them. And after about 6 months of that, I went, I can't do this. It's so hard. And it was just because it was a hobby at that point. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't even auditioning. I was just trying to see if I could record myself and figure out what to do with audio. When you end up with 6 hours of raw audio and there's 8,000 mistakes, you're like, I don't know what to do to fix those. So through a couple of years, I had little kids. My kids were not in school yet, so I didn't have a quiet house, so I didn't have time to record usable. So I practiced a lot, and eventually, when I got serious, when I decided my kids, oh yay, I'm so happy you guys are here. When I was able to spend a little bit more time and devote myself to it more, I was able to get some performance coaching. It is an acting job. First and foremost, it is performance based and it is audition based. And so I had to get coaching. I had to have somebody teach me the particular type of acting and skills you needed for audiobook narration. And then I started investing in myself, and I had a little bit more time when the kids got older. And fast forward several years later, and I went full time. I have been a full time narrator it's been about 2.5 years now. So I've produced about 50 books in those 2.5 years. And it's been just a dream. I worked in
Yeah,
Hollywood for a decade, and that was a great job, but I still love this job better. I do. It's just a wonderful career. So I get to work with fabulous authors, read books that I adore for free. I don't have to pay
right.
to listen to these great books. Somebody is
I
paying
mean,
me
you
to
get
read books
paid.
that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I would say not even for free, but I get paid to do what I love, and it's the best job I've ever had. So Yes, there's my whole backstory for you guys.
Nice, and you covered question 1 and a little bit of question
Mhm,
4 or 5 that I had.
You know, I like to get it all.
just get in there before. Most people I think here know me already by face and by wizard hat. But I'm JD Astra and also Ember Holt. JD Astra writes sci-fi fantasy, typically with Shadow Alley Press. Ember Holt is also sci-fi fantasy, but heavily focused on romance and targeting more of a female audience. And yeah, I don't really have. That's it. That's my whole spiel. No, I was really.
You can tell us how many books have you written under each, and
So far under JD Astro Shadow Alley Press, it's been 17 books, 3 of which are exclusive on Yonder right now. Super fun urban fantasy superhero story that I really love.
Okay.
And then with Ember Holt, I have 2 published right now, book 1 and book 2 in the Fey Prison Earth series, and 2 more on pre-order. I just finished one last night. Writing like crazy. But yeah, I was really fortunate when I started working with Shadow Alley Press. You mentioned investing in yourself, and I was very fortunate with them that they invested in me for free also. So that was great. They paid for developmental editors that coached me and helped guide me. But I think the biggest thing that I did for myself was read a lot. Just like you listened a lot, and you kind of found out what you liked and how to sort of replicate that but make it your own. Yeah, very important.
Yeah. So tell us, I guess, a good intro. Tell us about the series that I'm working on, how it came to be, what it's about, and kind of where
You're
it's
like,
going.
You're going to lead, right? And here you are leading for me. Thank you.
Well, I'm curious, and I want to know too, so I figure other people want to know.
Yeah, so the Chimera Bounty is book 1 in the Fey Prison Earth series, and the idea behind this series is just like, what if Earth was actually a huge prison realm where Fey just like tossed their degenerates, and what if they'd been doing that for thousands of years, and it became kind of myth and legend and lore, and what Hogwarts house I'm in? I'm a Slytherin. Yeah. I'm a Slytherin 100%. I'm so driven, determined, unyielding. That's me. I'll let Laura answer really quick. What Slytherin house or what?
That's very debated in my house. The first time I took it when I was 21, it was a Hufflepuff. I took it again when we went to Harry Potter World last year, and me and my daughter were both
Ravenclaw?
No. Thank you. Nope, the one that Harry Potter's in. Nope, the one Harry Potter's in. Gryffindor, thank you. Where's my brain? Yeah, we're both, and so my husband's like, that's not right. That's because he was Hufflepuff. And I was like, he's like, you're a Hufflepuff with me. And I'm like, fine, our chosen one, our winner child. All right, fine. And I have no shame about being Hufflepuff, but I couldn't find the email it was linked to, so it wasn't attached. So, guess I'm a little bit of both.
You don't want division within the household.
No. So she's got 2 Hufflepuff parents and a little Gryffindor heart of mine for my little child.
That's cute. Well, thanks, Paul, for asking. Appreciate it. I'm glad I had that answer like ready to go.
Yeah, and I was not equipped. I couldn't think of the house name, so my bad. Not that we're not Potterheads, just my brain is elsewhere.
Yeah, we were talking about books and stuff. I mean, that's books and stuff.
Yeah, other books and stuff.
Other books and stuff. So the Chimera Bounty takes place in a very small, well, not very small, but a fairly small town in West Virginia, where our FMC is this scrappy part-time bartender, college student, writing stories for the paper on the side that constantly get rejected because they're not interesting enough. And she encounters this Fey exile who's hunting down his quarry. I don't want to give it away too much. His quarry. And she has a magical item just by chance that he decides he wants. And so they kind of clash in that way. He tries to steal it from her. She ends up saving his life. And off they go on this journey of magic discovery and unraveling this interesting mystery. Hers, which is she's trying to track down these reports of disappearances, of girls disappearing. and his trying to track down this quarry, and their plots weave together throughout the whole thing. And that's book one. It takes place entirely on Earth, so very much an urban fantasy, like fantasy themes, but urban setting.
Yep.
And book two takes place primarily on Earth again, but we definitely get to see 3 new realms in book two that they go and visit and experience lots of the cool Fae culture. And why we're doing this here in a LitRPG group is that the magic system is gamified. So it's not a strict LitRPG. It's more like progression fantasy. I try not to use these words too much with my readership because they don't know them. But yeah, it's a progression fantasy that has sort of stat screen displays and leveling up that is kept track of. So that's why we're here and not somewhere else.
Yeah, it makes sense. It all comes together. So what can you tell us of book two?
Book two, I can say that she's a chonker. She's real big. When that goes to audio, it's going to be a little pricey.
Okay. Oh, she's thick. That's okay. I'm like, she's a what?
Thick.
Yes, love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, so her current bonds get tested. There's newfound family. Lots of new magic level ups that she gets to explore. And I'm sure you can tell just by reading it and having read lots of fantasy romance yourself, Laura, but like Corbin's not endgame. He was never designed to be. Oh no, she's mad. Oh no.
I mean, I have that in my notes from the first time we ever spoke. So in the back of my head, I know. I don't know that. No. Well, it's gonna have to be a pretty big epic sweep then, because he's not perfect, but they're cute and there's charm and magnetic chemistry. So it's gonna have to be something pretty tasty.
Well, I hope you get to see.
Me too.
All right, so we had Paul ask, what exactly is the Fae, like elves and fairies and what else? So especially in fantasy romance, the term Fae is used to incorporate lots of different things. It's so broad. It's so incredibly broad. But yes, like fairies, anything otherworldly, anything that can come from especially mythology here on Earth, especially like the Gaelic region would be considered Fae stuff. Yeah. They usually come with pointy ears and are called elves. Like, at least from a lot of the fantasy romance that I've read. But so in the book, my character calls them Fae. They don't call themselves Fae. That's not what they think they are. They have a name for themselves. They call them. They're Varens. But yeah, to sort of like help bridge this gap of understanding with the readership, I just use the term Fae.
But they're from another world dimension area that is not Earth. So versus other Fae stories you may read where they just go through a barrier and it's into a woodland area, this is essentially, it's the same thing, but they're a different planet or dimension instead.
Right. So, I mean, in a lot of stories, it's kind of vague too. They're like, oh, we passed through the veil and we popped out in the glade. And it's like, that could be going to another world. Like,
absolutely.
You don't know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, sometimes it's just they have sequestered this area of forest that is like blocked to human interaction and live there.
Yeah.
But yes, in this story, there's 174 different worlds, and the Varens come from one of them.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay, and let's see. Can you tell us? I will read too, but I do want to know, like, who's your favorite character? Like, who's your favorite to write? Who's the most interesting?
Oh, man. So when I first started writing from Dante's POV in book 2, I was just like, this is the best. Why have I never written like this from a male? Like, I used to write from male POVs a lot as JD Astra, but never in a romance context.
Right.
So it was.
And who is Dante? Who is Dante going to be for us?
Dante is the new love interest.
Must be. And is he a Baron or is he an Earth?
He is
from Earth.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a Baron.
I guess they all are. Okay. So we got dual point of view, or is it more than two?
It's just dual. So book
Okay.
1 is single POV,
Mhm.
third person, past tense,
Mhm.
told from the female's perspective, Maeve, and then
Mhm.
book 2, again, third past, but dual
Yeah.
POV, Maeve and Dante.
Oh, good, because it's real close third, and I really like that because you can still put attitude on it even though it's third, and so his is close. Oh, that's
Yes.
exciting. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna meet Dante,
Yeah,
and
not
we get the
omniscient, it is.
okay. Mhm.
What's the
Mhm.
word that's not omniscient?
Let's see. Well, not
Limited.
limited. I'm like,
Limited.
not
That's the word.
omniscient.
There's a lot of authors in here, so I'm sure somebody
Uh-huh.
just shouted
They'll
out
get
for
it.
me.
They'll get it. Okay,
I
very
did
good.
want to
So we'll
ask
meet
you a couple
Dante.
questions too before
Oh,
before we
okay.
move
Well,
into
I just
narrating.
like learning about the book. Okay, tell me.
I mean, like, we can still learn about the book through, like, what has
Sure.
been your favorite part of narrating it so far, or what are you most looking forward to?
Well, it's always, as you know, I like to narrate live. I do it predominantly on TikTok, and I have a good following on TikTok of people that are bookish people. So I'm really yeah, I was like, it's just I don't really go on TikTok for anything else. I don't go there for news. I do it purely for bookish people and bookish information. So my following are just bookish people are nice authors, readers, not everyone, but on the whole, my experience is very, very positive. So I like narrating live. It's encouraging. I love when my authors are there because they can see the process. I mean, because I already know
Oh
you,
God.
I like to Zoom with my authors. Like I like it to be a personal experience. I am narrating your babies, and so, oh,
Just as the last author, you want to ask that question? It's
yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, sure, why not? So when I'm live, I mean, as you know, there are your book. We talked about it. I would say it has got good spice in it. This is not, there is very plot driven. This is not erotica. It is not sex driven, but it is a plot driven story. But it has spice, and the readership is there for it. They are going to devour this story, and they're going to love it. And so we say about 2 to 2.5 chili peppers. So there's some good spicy scenes that we have dribbled in through here. No fade to black, which
dribble.
they're sprinkled. All right, fine. They're dribbled, they're sprinkled. Well, dribble is a little more graphic than sprinkle, but you can
A little
sprinkle
more
if you
graphic.
want. You can sprinkle it through however you want. But so the scenes that I like to do. So the scene that I'm going to read, I have a couple scenes that I could pick from, but I particularly like when she challenges them for sprints when they're out on the field and they have a bet on who's faster, who can do the sprints the fastest, and loser has to buy breakfast. It is so charming, and those are the kind of scenes because their chemistry. It's not insta chemistry. It's not insta love. It's not enemies to lovers either. It is just forced proximity, but done so well that you're like, oh yeah, they could totally bang. Like, but they're friends. They probably, there's chemistry, but you're
Reluctant
not sure.
allies.
Yeah, they're
Is
yes,
what it's like.
absolutely, and it's not always done that way. I read a lot of books. I listen. I read a lot of books. I narrate a lot of fantasy romance, and their first interactions are not always done this well. And so this is not a first interaction, but we've turned a corner. They've gone from, okay, you're kind of a pain in my ass and we're forced to be together, to maybe we can make this not so unpleasant. And it's a nice, like, you turn that corner really elegantly, and it's a fun, playful scene that you reference back later in the book that I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Like, it's charming beyond things. Leave couple reels for me. Oh, yay, thanks,
I should
Brian.
definitely
Yes.
follow her. She's
Oh,
great.
thank you. Yes, I have fun. I do a lot of bloopers. If you've seen anything,
And
I
they're
mostly on TikTok. I unfortunately I don't advertise. I don't use Facebook as a work platform. Grandma and all my family is on Facebook. So
yeah, they don't need to see what you're doing
yeah,
in
I would say
closet.
I have no shame about it. Like, I don't care. Grandma can read all the spicy smut she wants. If she wants to listen to her granddaughter listen to, narrating some spice, that I have no shame about it. I just don't use this as a platform. This is not an advertising platform for me. This is for family and showing pictures of and liking other people's kids and all that stuff. Hail everyone. Hey, John. But yeah, if you're on other platforms, mostly TikTok and Instagram is where you can find snippets. If you want to hear my voice, I will live narrate for you guys today too. But if you wanted to hear anything else, if you want to join me live, I am narrating Ember's book this week and into next week. So if you guys want to hop on over to TikTok and listen to more of it live, get hooked today, by all means, I hope you do. So
Sure.
yes.
Looks like we've got another question. What's the ratio between sexiness and chili peppers? it's a good one. That's really good.
Yeah, and it is
So-
relative. I would say, sorry, I will give my quick
Yeah.
description. Because I read so much spice, I think if it fades to black, it is 0. That is a 0. Now, some people who, if it starts and there's touching and heavy breathing, they would call that 1 or 2 chili peppers. So that is relative. If there is touching and heavy breathing and there is no penetration and it fades to black, that's a 0 for me. So going up to 5 for me would be erotica. That means the sex drives the plot versus the plot drives and sex is involved. So 2 to 2.5 means that there's more than one sexy encounter. And yeah, 3, 4 is lots of sexy encounters, but still plot driven.
I would say, like, for me, once we get to like 3 and 4, there's definitely more kink play involved too, and it's beyond penetration, and we enter the realm of like, here's some very specific things that can happen during sexual encounters.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be too blunt. I hope I'm not shocking anyone. I hope this is an adult group. I'm not sure.
You're not shocking anyone. Everyone's
okay, I didn't think so. But yeah, like I said, since I want to be very open. I don't read spice live on TikTok. For one, it's not allowed, and for two, I don't want 14-year-olds popping up and be like, what did I just walk into? But I also want to be very clear. Like, I have no shame about reading spicy, smutty scenes. And we shouldn't, because it is, by number one, the romance genre is just crippling every other genre. It's unreal. So adding a little spice and people love it up, and it doesn't have, people who like fade to black or only want clean reads. I have no shame about that either. It is just, what it is. People have different preferences, but yes, penetration for me that is a defining characteristic of if it gets peppers.
I hope this is yeah.
Let me see. Let me pull up some comments. Make sure I can see them. Okay.
Hopefully not. Yes. So this group also. So there are a lot of harem authors in this group as well. So we are the flip side of harem, or we're not reverse harem. I'm not reverse harem, at least. I'm sure you've read some reverse harem before, though. Laura.
Narrate, read, listened. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I enjoy it.
Are you guys still calling? I don't know, since you don't write, I don't know, because they've switched. I refer to it as why choose now, and I don't know if that's common in this community or not. But yeah, that was something, I think it transitioned a year or two ago that I stopped referring to it as reverse harem or harem, because that has some cultural issues with it that go with it.
Right. I feel like an asshole.
No, I'm so sorry. No, I because if this community hasn't, I just thought I'd share that because I still say I do narrate reverse harem, which is now referred to as why choose. Because why choose, that could be, reverse harem is pretty graphic. Like, if you know what a harem is, you go, oh, I know what they're talking about. Why choose is like, is that like choose your own adventure? Like, can I pick if Batman goes to the Batcave or goes to Alfred? Like, it's more ambiguous.
Right.
So
I also think that there's a difference between why choose and reverse harem, specifically because reverse harem means that the group like comes together and they will engage in sexual activity all together.
Male, female. Yeah, and female and male. Yeah.
Yeah. They usually become friends. But why choose? They don't.
No. It inherently, they could be one at a time or two at a time, but it's not guaranteeing that there's any male or anything. So yeah, no, good. I'm glad because that term seems to be the one that replaced or is trying to replace reverse harem. So it's just what I've been using, but it's still new, and I'm not sure that's the one that will be adopted. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're about halfway in. I know you have a hard stop, so
oh gosh, that's fast.
Yeah, I know, right? We just got to chatting. You'd like to do your narration now? We're going to be narrating.
Sure.
I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm going to mute myself.
You want to do a male point of view? You want to make this duet? We can.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Thanks very much.
No, I guess that's why you hired me. All right, I'll take that back. I was going to open with the opening of your book because I think it is a great opening. If that's okay, I could read a page or two. I mean, each page takes me between 2 and 2.5 minutes. So I can read for 3, 4, 5 minutes and get the first page or so everyone can get a feel of the world. I can jump straight to sprint. I can read whatever scenes you want. It's just, you ask me ones that stick out. I love when their competition comes in, but if you want to do an action scene, if you want, I mean, here we can do a sexy scene. I'll do whatever you guys want. You guys let me know.
Oh man, my face is a little bit red from the light, but is turning much more red now.
Yeah. Are you hot? Is it hot in there? I mean, I'm hot in
Oh,
here, but that's for just,
I'm
physically.
sorry. Turn your AC on. I'm so sorry.
I guess I can. I'm actually not actually recording. I absolutely
Right.
could turn my AC on. It's just echoey when I open my door, but yeah, it's fine.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna be again. Laura only, not me at all, is going to be reading The Chimera Bounty, Book 1 in the Fae Prisoner series. It is an NA urban fantasy with romance and spice. Yeah. I think reading the first 2 pages or so just to kind of get a setting would be good.
Okay.
And then Sprincy is great. I love that one because it's Grump's first laugh, which is a really important moment for the trope. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Then I'm going to move my script over here so it still looks like I'm looking at you guys. And I will read from this side. Okay. So I'll just hop into it. Stop me at any point and we can hop along. But I just, it's a good opening and it's fun. Okay. Let's do it. There we go. All right. Chapter 1. Hottie got away. There was a CIA agent sitting at the end of Maeve's bar. Or maybe he was a drug dealer. The man was tall, with naturally bronzed skin below a navy blue t-shirt that was deliciously tight against his fit pecs and sculpted biceps. His black hair curled over his forehead, shadowing the pièce de résistance, piercing blue-gray eyes that would not stop staring directly at her chest. His diamond-shaped face had black stubble poking from his chin and around his upper lip. He probably hadn't shaved in a day or 2. He was unfairly hot, and Maeve didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell, especially since he was a mafia underboss, or something. Maeve wasn't sure who he was, though she had theories going on endlessly in her mind as she rushed orders of beer out to patrons on the patio. She wanted to get to him, but Jacob, the manager, had put Maeve on tiki patio duty with no help, penance for her transgression of leaving a team member alone to close. She had her reasons, not that Jacob cared. She finished delivering the others' orders and drifted down to the end of the bar where Mr. Hottie sat, waiting with stoic patience. "What can I get you?" she asked, her voice raised to carry over the patio music and rabble of college students amped up for spring break. "Beer." The man flicked his blue eyes up to her face for a fraction of a second before returning to linger at her chest. That was a brazen checkout, if Maeve had ever seen one, and the intensity of his gaze sent warm thrills through her body. She knew she wasn't hard on the eyes, but she'd never been looked at like that before. Maeve shook her head and gestured to the 6 taps on her right. "What kind?" He scowled at the options. "The blue one." There were 2 blues. That's not what it says. There were 2 blue ones, but Maeve figured, given the answer, he didn't really care that much. She poured the wheat ale and brought it back to him with a napkin. "You're not a student, so what brought you to our lovely little city?" she asked. "No reason," he said, his eyes fixed firmly at chest height before he took a sip of his beer. She smirked. "So you're on a tour of the States and just decided, yeah, Morgantown, West Virginia. I must go there." "What business is it of yours?" he asked, his eyes narrowed on hers. Damn, who was he if he was this upset about some casual banter? He was too hot to let it lie, though, and she decided to keep teasing him. Maybe there was a smile in there somewhere. Okay. Want me to keep going? I can keep going, but that's our introduction to them. He is cranky sunshine, and it is it's a great opener. So I did not see any of the comments, so hopefully everybody liked it.
You're making some people question things about themselves.
Good, that's a healthy human, part of life. I don't know what questions I'm asking, but hopefully the answers will come.
I loved that you stitched the podcast of the guys who were just like, I could never get aroused by just words. That's so dumb. I know we have lots of readers and authors in here that don't think that's the case. but probably haven't read the other side of romance, a female perspective written romance. So maybe we can question some more things as we go.
Yeah, well, that was an absurd thing to say. They were like, "Oh, could you get hot off of words?" And the guy's like, "Never, not even a wiggle." And then he's like, "Well, I've never actually read a sex. I don't think I've ever
never actually read."
Single sex. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, not a wiggle, but you know, he's never thought to even maybe read a couple.
Never even attempted.
But not every that, and it's no judgment. Not everyone's a reader, and reading sex does not appeal to everyone. But it's just a bold statement, like never. I could words do it. I don't want to read words, but if I did, it wouldn't do anything. It's like, okay, we'll find out. We'll see.
I know myself well enough, and then they'll be like, I think Sick Fucks came out on audio just recently, and I have heard like it is a performance, and I think they would change their minds.
Yep. I was like in my head, I was like counting off books, and I'm like, most of them are female point of view, but there are sex scenes from male point of views in mostly female point. I'm like, So I won't get into personal preferences on, but it's like if you are not okay. Anyways, yes. I did a TikTok about it. I don't want to talk too long about it, but yes, if you are curious, I did a TikTok. It's a 8-second TikTok going. We'll see
about that.
Let me know after I read a couple of my books, and we'll talk. But yes, okay. Right. So was that good? Everybody's enjoying it. Great. Question things. Okay, so let me make sure. I did want to ask, what is your favorite scene of book 1?
Oh no, I didn't come prepared.
That's okay.
There are a lot of really great scenes that I enjoyed. I'm a sucker for Dark Night of the Soul. It's my favorite to rip my characters' hearts out as hard as I can.
Okay.
I mean, because they come back from it, right? Like I wanna see just how far I can shove them down the rabbit hole for them to be able to climb, like in what they have to do to climb back up. So, yeah.
Yep.
Testing their mettle. I love it.
Yep. Yeah, you do a lot of that. There are, I mean, without spoiling too much, there's not any heart-wrenching deaths in book 1. There are deaths and there is some gore, but am I going to get my heart ripped out in book 2, or are we going to lose some favorite characters?
No. I'm not. I don't often kill characters. There's one on my mind for book 4, but I only kill a character if there's like a reason for it, right?
Other than just hurting me. Okay.
Good. It can't just be like, oh, that character's needed to die. Like, okay, Luke in Star Wars, like Ben had to die so that Luke could become a Jedi.
Yeah. All right. So always Uncle Ben. Yep. Yep.
Always Ben. Yeah. So many Bens have died.
Always Uncle Ben. He's the crutch and he needs to die. Yep. I gotcha.
Have you seen the theory that Obi-Wan is actually Luke's father? Sorry.
I mean, I'll take it.
Anyways, okay. So where are you jumping to next?
Okay, so let's jump to the sprint scene. Let me find that again. Control F, sprint. I think it's on page 112. Yeah, 112. Where did I want to start? Yeah, we'll start. We're just going to jump right into it. So, do you want to, let's see.
A really quick intro to this is like, so they've already come together. Like they're in this forced proximity situation where like he won't leave her alone because she has a magic item that he needs, and she made him promise to teach her magic. So now they're kind of like stuck in this like, let's figure this mystery out together and like find the quarry that you need to find, and yeah. Okay. So this is like their first ever just playing around scene. Everything else has been like plot, mission, etc.
Yeah, and fighting. Like they were fighting for their lives all of a sudden, and they are forced partnership because it's like, well, I either let the bow kill me and you, or we try and battle them together. So okay, yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, he mostly just laid there dying.
also that. Okay, yes. All right, fine. All right, the library bow fight. All right, fine. Eventually he gets his shit together and is a little bit more helpful. So. Our battle-scarred warrior. All right. Well, then I will pull my script back over. And...
She breasted Boobly down the stairs. Yes.
Breasted Boobly down the stairs. Yep.
You know, I can say with extreme confidence that I have breasted boobly down the stairs before, so it's a real
I mean,
thing.
every morning. How else do I get downstairs? That's the only way I do it.
It's the only way.
Breast first. That's yep. That's how we women move. All right. Let's go here. And he is a Varen. He is technically from our foreign place, our other world. And so there is some, though he has language basically imprinted into him, like he's downloaded English language, there are some terms that he obviously was using an old file. So he doesn't know some of the terminology. And it's fun, it's engaging, it's great.
Just
so.
like a bureaucracy, their files are out of date, you know? You
Yeah,
can't
that's
always
right.
get.
Yeah, he got the, I don't know, 1940s, because he's also formal. He's a bit stiff. I read him a bit stiff, especially at the beginning, because his language is his diction and his language is just
that was the
from
intent.
clearly not from the 2000s or whenever her world is a modern or a contemporary world. So, yep. So I dig it. All right, here we go. She cleared her throat. All right then, hot stuff. Let's do sprints. What's that? We'll run as fast as we can, back and forth a short distance. Whoever gets to 10 completed sprints first wins. Wins what? He asked, leaning toward her. That energy from last night danced around her excitedly, eager to be tested. She pushed up onto her tiptoes and put her mouth close to his ear. Food. His eyes gleamed. Burritos? Maeve giggled. Loser's choice, since they'll have to pay. Well, now you've incentivized me to lose. He crossed his arms, only tightening the shirt over his pecs. Maeve walked to the door. You're trying to cover the embarrassment of losing a race to a kin. I wouldn't lose. Prove it. She hopped out of the bus and flicked her keys in her hand. Corvin followed, hopping down the steps like she did. She locked up and stuffed the keys in the backpack. They walked down the street to a nearby park, and Maeve set the parameters of the race. The grass was slick from early morning dew, and Maeve paid special attention to all the environmental factors that might affect her performance. The air was still cold, so she strapped a cloth mask over her nose and mouth to help prevent her lungs from constricting from the chill. 10 sprints, he asked, eyeing the water bottle Maeve had placed 30 feet away. 10. One there and one back is a sprint. On the count of 3, she said, getting into a running stance. Corvin dropped into a low, explosive pose. So, he hadn't noticed the dewy grass. Maeve smirked. 1, 2, 3. Corvin tore off the starting line with inhuman speed, and Maeve struggled to even stay in his wake. Then she noticed his legs were wrapped in black fur, and that his feet had transformed into panther paws. His claws dug into the grass, keeping perfect traction. That's cheating, Maeve called. Corvin passed her going the other direction with a broad smile. What was that? Cheater! Maeve screamed. She hit the end marker, pivoted back the other direction. Corvin was already back at the starting line somehow. He tore up the grass on his way back, grinning with his eyes focused straight ahead. Maeve pushed faster, and when she went to pivot at the starting line, she slipped and fell into the grass. She growled and gained her feet. She imagined that her running shoes were powerful clawed feet like his. Warm caw pulled down her legs from her chest, and her shoes came alight with red sparks. Sharp cleats popped out from the bottom, and Maeve instantly felt a change in her grip. She blasted off from the starting line, now a full sprint behind Corvin. Who's cheating now? He asked as they passed at the midpoint. Maeve hit the end and instantly turned back the other direction. Her agility increased tenfold. Just leveling the playing field, she taunted. They passed again at the midpoint, and she felt his eyes on her as she blasted past him. They were evenly matched now, pivoting at opposite ends at the same time. Maeve pushed harder, feeling the burn of both muscle and caw rushing through her. 5 sprints in, Corvin's energy was waning, and Maeve gained. It wasn't totally fair. She ran on an empty stomach every morning. Poor Corvin had probably never missed a meal in his life. Getting tired? Maeve asked, 10 feet behind him. Wasting your breath, he replied, pivoting. He was still grinning like he had a chance. On the 7th sprint, something amazing happened. Sorry, I don't have to stop for this voice. Let me have a sip of tea for this voice. This is our first exposure. My voice is giving out on me. Spirit chain unlocked. Yes, Maeve yelled. Level up, baby. Level what? Corvin asked. Spirit chain unlocked. How do you know? I heard it, Maeve panted. In my head, you know? What? All this talking was causing Maeve to lose her breath. She decided to save it for after she won and pushed herself faster. It was the 9th sprint now, and she and Corvin were side by side. Maeve's feet dug into the muddy earth at the end, and she pivoted hard, exploding off the spot. She pumped her arms and legs, sweat running down her neck and back. She couldn't see Corvin in her periphery, and the backpack was so close. Victory was hers. No! Corvin screamed, and Maeve was hit from behind. Corvin's strong arms grabbed her around the waist, pinning her back against his chest. There wasn't time for any other thought as they hit the grass and rolled. When they came to a stop, Corvin was holding her tightly, laughing. What is it? What happened? Maeve asked in a panic, looking for any sign of a bow. He gasped for air. I crossed the finish line first. The fearful energy drained out of Maeve, and she elbowed him in the gut. He oofed, still laughing, and let her go. The latent terror shook her voice as she scolded him. I thought there was a threat or something, and you were saving my life. Corvin panted a few times, then caught his breath. No, saving mine. I have no money for food, remember? And there you go.
That was so much fun.
Okay. Yeah, I would say just because I misread a verb or adverb, I didn't see those comments come in. That doesn't mean that they were, weren't correctly written.
We were talking about boobily being your favorite adjective, and then verb, adverb.
Yes.
No.
So
and yes, any faults in the text are purely mine.
Oh, unless I misread. Since I'm not actually recording, I didn't fix any, but I didn't stumble too much. So that's nice. That's a nice, change for me. Let's see. There is a question.
How much reading do you do?
To maintain the context. Oh, I read the entire book. I'm going to put my camera back over here. I read the entire book and prep it before I ever start recording. So there is no guesswork. I do ask for a little bit of work up front. I of course want the manuscript as soon as I can get it, and then I ask for character details. And so it's a series of 10 or so questions about the character's age and accent. If they're earthbound, do you imagine they're from Britain? In this case, they pretty much all have pretty neutral American accents with the occasional accent here and there.
Do you want to give us Essentia really quick?
Yes. What is Essentia?
Because I love her. I think you did great.
I love her as a character. She's a shifter. Can I say a little bit who she is, or can you tell us who Essentia is, and I'll find a line from her?
So Essentia is a snake butterfly shifter. By the end of the book, which you've read the whole thing, so no spoilers here. But we discovered that she had a role in the conception of our FMC. So her bloodline is mingled with hers, and she kind of, when Maeve first meets Essentia, it's in a sort of adversarial situation. Essentia is the, I guess, gang lord of this like Fae underground on Earth, and but she takes to Maeve really quickly and like starts teaching her how to use her magic and how to like look at her stat screen and poke around like that. So yep. But she spent a long time embedded with the Baron culture and kind of maintained that accent because she never really entered the human population on Earth.
He's West Virginia. Well, we talked about it. They are in West Virginia. She grew up in Tennessee, and she's trying to blend in as best as possible. So we talked about it, and we went at pretty much neutral, unless high passion. You get a little like twinge. I won't even call it twang, just a little bit. But for the
and
most
that is
part,
right in the text too, right? It's like she got really excited and her accent slipped. But yeah,
and
her
after
backstory
spending time with her dad, yeah.
But her backstory is that she was trying to be a journalist. She moved to New York for a while and like tried to kind of tamp down on her accent because the connotations of Southern accents sometimes, the bias, like she just wanted to avoid that. So she tried to adopt a more neutral accent. And also, I didn't want Laura to die, having to do tons of accents for the main characters. So did her favor.
Yeah. It's well, it does, and it comes out, and Dad has a little twang, and but he's charming. He's charming, and his cadence is a little slower. Everything. I mean, he's not slow of mind. He's just a country boy, lives on his farm, and trying to hide from them non-Earth folk.
I heard it the first time with you yesterday when you were on, and it was so great. Like,
oh, good.
I was smiling. So, oh no, it was the day before yesterday when I was on with you.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like the first words he said, I was like, oh my god. I'm like, he said it was you. You said.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that is that's what you want. That is what I want, because I want it to sound how you hear it in your head, and it can't always be perfect. It won't be exactly. I won't ever actually sound like Liam Neeson or whoever it is, but it will give you the feel is my goal in my job. So, but yes, but you asked for Sentia, so I found. Let's see, Sentia says, "No one ever said raising a phoenix would be easy." Sensia moved, then patted Liam on the shoulder as he passed. She deactivated the magical lock on the door and opened it. "You rube," Sensia said. "Your first task for training. Carry Gaklek back to his room." There you go. There's Sentia. And she's an intense, she's snake shifter, and so she's got I give the S just a little bit more credence than I would using the similar accent, but I give it a touch, because she is very, I mean, we mentioned her coiling and her like slither, like it's very much her character, and she's a fun character to do.
I'm glad you enjoy it. I designed all the characters to be enjoyable.
I do. It's been great. So I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's too, because yesterday was like, we're gonna do it. It was such an action-packed chapter, and I went back and listened to it this morning because I was like, I want to make sure it wasn't too fast, because I was in a time crunch, and I went back and I was like, no, I slowed down at the end, because sometimes when it's actiony, your natural inclination is go faster. Right, it's like, no, that gets it's exhausting for the listener when everything you're climbing a mountain that never hits a peak. And so there was a point that I slowed down. I was like, oh, it was the pacing. Hopefully you were happy yesterday too.
Yeah, no, it was great. The sprints through the underground that comes back up. Yeah, I try to do those mirror points.
Oh,
whoever Facebook user is, thank you so much. I appreciate that you think my stuff is well worth it.
Oh yeah.
My JD Astro stuff is worth it too.
Oh yeah. But I'm glad. Well, and so book 1 and 2 are both available now on Kindle Unlimited,
yes,
right?
And paperback.
KU and paperback. I'm literally recording the audiobook this week and into next week. And so my editor will have it for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you get it, you listen to it, take your time, listen back to it. And then once it's approved, Audible takes some amount of time, an indiscriminate. They decide. They say between 3 and 10 business days to put it through their QC and all of that. But that I've seen it go the same day, and I've seen it take 2 months. So we'll hope for the best. We'll hope for the best.
Yeah. So maybe like late August, early September timeframe is probably
for book 1. Yeah. And then book 2, we're talking, if we move forward, that is entirely you, but are you thinking doing male narrator to do the male point of view?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many scenes, like once we hit the midpoint in book 2, it's almost every other chapter is like trading off with them. So
Well, that's fun, and it's popular. People like having the male point of view from a male narrator. So, if when we get there, I hope you guys all go grab the audiobook because it's a fun, or the print version, whatever you prefer, because it's a great book. And I'm going to read book 2 regardless, but I'd love to do the audiobook for book 2. So,
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be anyone else but you, so I wouldn't.
So
yeah,
that is fab.
But the more people who buy book 1 on audio, the higher chances there are that book 2 will come to audio also.
Yes. So when it comes out, let me know, and we'll make sure we post about it. I'll post about it on TikTok and around the places to alternate as long as you can smash it up. Yeah, I work pretty closely with my co-narrators. We don't narrate at the same time, like I don't do it over Zoom or anything, but we have long conversations. Most of the time I give them all of book 1 so they hear my character voices. They have all the voices together in one file, and then I give them book 1, so that way they can hear it all, know the story, or we ask for a cheat sheet. If at the very least we ask for, have Ember write a summary and give them a synopsis of book 1, and then they listen to all my character voices and they go from there. So yeah, so cool.
How many dual narration books have you done where, like, if it's the female's POV, you'll voice all the voices that aren't male, and like the male co-narrator will come in and like do those?
So that is different. So what I was talking about would be dual narration, meaning I read all the voices in the female point of view chapters. So even if it's, the male main character is speaking, I still read his voice in my chapters. And then the same for the male. He would read all of the voices in his point of view. Duet narration, which the names are confusing. Duet narration is when I read all of the female dialogue regardless of whose point of view chapter it is. So those are different. Those are also gaining huge popularity, but those are different because they are number one, more expensive to produce because the editing time, imagine slicing every single line of dialogue in to make it sound perfect, is much more demanding. So the editing cost goes up pretty significantly. But that is more popular. When people come in, their first audiobook they've ever listened to is duet, meaning that it's male and female are saying all their dialogue. It's hard for them to ever shift to something else. They think that everything else is not good. So it's a hard thing because audiobooks are so popular and they're growing so much over the past. I mean, they're growing double digits every year for the past decade. Their readership, their production numbers. So it's a huge platform to have your books on. But because there's new readers coming in by the load every day, it's the demand for duet is getting higher, but they don't realize that the production cost either to the publisher or for the indie author is significantly higher. So it's like, well, you gotta buy a shitload of books and then they can do a duet.
Yeah. But yeah, duet narration is more like listening to a radio soap opera. I think.
Yes, it is much more like an audio drama. And so for somebody who's, I guess, old school like me, yes, they're audio dramas are quite old school, but for people who do audiobooks, even dual narration was an adjustment. To have a male narrator come in was an adjustment. And I like them now, but I would not say my preference does not fall in audio dramas with sound effects and somebody knocks on the door and they actually have a knock. It's like, that's not my preference. However, do I listen to them? Oh yeah, sure. I can get, if it's a good book, I'll listen to it still. So
nice.
Yeah. So, any other questions before we close out? Anything else you want me to?
Throw some questions in the chat, because we've just got a few minutes left. Laura has a hard stop, so I want to respect her time, the kids' time. I also want to respect my book's timeline because I know that's what you're working on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm gonna close this up, and I've got some narrating to do. I got some recording to do. Yeah, that's true. That crossover. Well, they're not working right now with the strike, so I bet they may do some audiobook work. Audiobook work is not struck work right now. And yeah, audiobook work is not struck work. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad if anybody has questions, you can always email me. I put my own. I put my website up. But yes, my email.
Your email there, right?
Yeah, my email is just my name, Laura@laurahorowitz.com. So if you guys have questions, I am around, and if you want to follow me on TikTok and listen to more lives, I'll probably go live. I said I'd do it this afternoon, and I forgot that I have family coming in. So no, I will not, because I'm not working the rest of the week. So I will be recording this morning And if you want, I can hop over and go live on TikTok in about half hour after I, refresh my tea and, drop my kids off.
Put some,
do
put
things.
some ice packs on.
Oh, God, you know me. I'm like, I'm hot already. It's not even hot outside, and I'm hot. So, I crack my door and turn on the AC for half hour before I have to go to work. So, well, yay.
Well, yeah, I've really enjoyed this. This has been a great time. I super appreciate you being able to come and do this live with me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to, and I'll be working diligently on this book on the Chimera Bounty, and yeah, I hope you guys will hear it, read it, pick it up sometime soon.
Yeah, so the Chimera Bounty, book 1 of the Papers in Earth series, is free on Kindle Unlimited. It's an NA urban fantasy. NA is just new adult. That's the age range. With 2 pepper spice. We talked about 2 peppers is on-screen penetration, explicitly described, but nothing too kinky, and the plot drives the story, not the sex, which is why it's not more peppers. Yeah, and it's kind of a progression-based fantasy with some LitRPG elements added. It's been one of my goals for a really long time. When I started with Shadow Valley Press, they asked me, like, what do you really want to achieve doing this? And I was like, well, I want to get more female readers into this genre because I think it's really cool. It's very fun. And like being a female gamer myself, knowing lots of female gamers are out there, just kind of exposing them to this cool progression-based LitRPG writing. Yeah. And so far, the reception has been great. Like, some people are like, oh my god, this cool gamified magic system. I've never seen anything like this before in my life, and it's amazing, and I want more of it. And I was like, go look at the LitRPG genre. There's tons of it. There's tons.
Yep.
But some people have been like, why is there video game stuff in it? Why isn't there more sex? And I'm like,
well, that's a whole audience too. Yep. Well, it's a trend. Yeah, we're working our way there.
Right.
We're bridging the gap. Yep.
No, I think I've found a niche part of the fantasy romance readership that really likes exactly what I'm doing. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, yay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Laura. Give your outro spiel really quick so everyone knows where to find you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you again. I am audiobook narrator Laura Horowitz. You can find me. Here's my website, laurahorowitz.com. And I do predominantly fantasy, sci-fi, romance, and thriller narrations. I do all genres, but those are the ones I particularly enjoy. I do also do nonfiction, but I'm not going to say that I love doing, business etiquette. 16 hours of business work, but I will do it. but this is where I love to be. This is where I started as a reader in fantasy and sci-fi, and where I'm passionate about as a narrator. So yes, by all means, thank you. My website is up there. My TikTok is just my name. Instagram is my name _narrator. So you can find me around. And reach out if you have any questions. If you're an author looking for a narrator, if you just want to know what it's like, by all means, reach out to Ember, and she'll tell you how awful I am to work with, and she'll tell you the truth, and she'll stop pretending. But if you have questions about how much it costs, or what it looks like, or the procedures, or how to distribute, or any of those things, you can shoot me an email. We can set up a quick Zoom. You don't have to book with me. I'm just happy when audiobooks are made. Whether I narrate or not, I just want more audiobooks made. So by all means, let me know if you have questions.
Nice. And I'm author Ember Holt, and also JD Astra. You can find me at emberholtwrites.com. You can find me as Ember Holt Writes pretty much everywhere. I realized the fallacy of this too late. I was like, Ember Holt Writes what? Question mark. A lot of other people do like Ember Holt author, which so it makes it more clear, like they're writing books. But maybe the question therein like sparks interest. Ember Holt. But yeah, so right now under Ember Holt, I write primarily romance in the fantasy sci-fi space, but you can find mostly romance free with some fade to black stuff under JD Astra. It's much more sci-fi, fantasy, like LitRPG driven stuff.
It's me.
Thanks for joining us so much.
Yay, this has been great.
It's been really great. Bye, guys. Hope to see you again soon.